Carrie, thank you so much for your time today. I am so happy that you've agreed to come on and be on my newsletter. And thank you for interviewing me for your podcast. I'm going to link the wonderful interview that Carrie did with me as well for her podcast. So there's lots of stuff we have to share. And today it's Carrie's turn to share all the cool stuff she does. Carrie does so many things. I can't keep up with everything she's doing. She runs multiple businesses. She's also a very active community member in a few communities that I'm in. She is also very sporty, as I've just seen. Today, she's just cycled 14 miles with her son. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Carrie, about what you do, your family, and a little bit about your hobbies.
As far as my business goes, I've been in business since 2002, talking about doing too many things at once. So I started the business when I was 25. I was getting my master's degree in electrical engineering with computer science specialty. And I had a 9 month old that child I just biked with this weekend. He was 9 months old then. And so I was finishing my thesis and my master's degree, and I had a kid because my husband and I got married when we were high school sweethearts. We got married. I was 20, he was 21. And so by age 25, I was like, we're ready to have kids now. Yeah. So I have been running BCS Engineering for almost 23 years now. And we help online entrepreneurs and business owners have a very effective website. Our specialty is in making the website work harder for them so that it can be their salesperson. I love being outdoors. I love just flower gardening and things like that. I'm also a celiac, so I also love cooking and baking, and my friends and family absolutely love my cooking and baking, even though it's all gluten free. And I love to play piano too. I don't know if you knew that one. I play piano too. I play it probably 3 or 4 times a week for fun now. And I'm also working towards a triathlon here in a couple of weeks as of this recording. So I'm a little crazy.
Full of surprises. No, it's so inspiring. And you have, how many children do you have? Not children
I
anymore,
have
they're adults.
Yeah, I have three. They're 23 now, 21 and a half, and almost 18.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So tell us about your venture into entrepreneurship and how you've obviously started doing this when you were, like you said, your son was 9 months old, is when you launched your
Mhm.
business.
Yeah.
What made you venture into entrepreneurship with a newborn and why you chose it? And was this where you wanted to be? Is this how you imagined it to be?
I accidentally started the business. I was one of my husband and I's high school moms had a really cute boutique clothing store for children. And this was back in 2002-ish, 2003. And she was wanting to get her store online on the web, which was a newish thing back then. Not all the little mom and pop stores had something online. And so I found out that I could help her out a lot faster and a lot cheaper than trying to find somebody to help her. She came to us knowing we knew technology. So that's how I accidentally started it. I think I knew that's where I wanted to be because I had done some internships. I had done an internship when I was in undergraduate work, and I just really didn't like working in the corporate world. It just felt so stuffy. I didn't feel like I could be creative. I didn't feel like I could make a difference in the world quite like I could being on my own. So when this kind of accidentally happened, it basically just showed me this is the way I need to be and how I should be. And prior to that, I actually been helping our university with their websites they have multiple websites, and so helping them make sure it's effective for their students and for their staff and for the parents. So I'd already had that under my belt before I even started the business on accident. So that's how I got started with it. And shortly after, this is a fun fact, about 12 months, when my oldest was 12 months old, we purposely got pregnant with the first one. When my oldest is 12 months old, we accidentally got pregnant with the second one. So then I ended up having two babies, a new business, and finishing my master's degree. And I actually didn't graduate until I was pregnant with the third. So I was pregnant when I defended my thesis. So yeah, it was quite the adventure.
But you know what's amazing is that you didn't let your pregnancies or having children stop you from doing anything. You just chose to carry on, right? Like carry,
Right.
carry, carry on. And that's incredible because a lot of people would say, oh, I can't do this right now, I'm pregnant, I can't do this right now, I'm about to have a baby, or I can't do this right now, my children are small, can't do this right now, where am I going to have the time? But it's amazing that not only did you start your own business, you had 3 kids, you also did a master's. Did you say a PhD as well?
Just a master's. I was going to get a PhD, but I was done by the time I had 3 kids in a business.
So are you going to get a PhD now?
I don't think so. I learned so much running my business. I don't think I really need to do that.
So how did motherhood impact your business? You'll have to go back, think about it.
Yeah, I have to go back about 27 years. I feel okay. So there's a couple of things that come to my mind. Motherhood helped me really focus on what was important for the business because I had such limited time. I had to make sure when I was working, it was super effective for one. It also helped me, I feel like, be a better boss because it didn't take too long and I was already hiring people. And I always had family in mind whenever I had people in my business as far as being employees. And I was very flexible with the hours they work. If they had their own kids, I would let them flex their hours based upon when the kids were in school and things like that. So I think it not only helped me be focused, but it also helped me like be a compassionate boss, I would have to say. I think that would be the right words to call it.
What have been your biggest learnings in this 27-year journey, 23-year journey as a mom running multiple businesses?
I think that one of my biggest learnings is I always tried to make sure I had time for the kids. And looking back, I feel like I maybe could have done a little bit better job, but it's hard to see that until you look back on it. But then at the same time, they also got to see a mom running a business and running a technology business, which was not, that's not typically typical, right? For a mom to be running a technology business, a software company. So I think for one, it helped show them that they can do whatever they put their mind to. But two, I think I could have done my time management a little bit better. I would basically work when they were in school. Then I would spend time with them when they came home from school. And then about 9 o'clock, whenever they go to bed, I'd work again for another 3 hours till midnight and then sleep and repeat repeat the day. So I think knowing, and that was okay with my husband because we worked side by side in the evening. So it wasn't like we were isolating, I wasn't isolating him. So I think just making sure that you have that family connection at the same time and make sure that you have the boundaries that you need that work for your life. Not everybody's going to be able to do what I did. That doesn't work for some people's brain. So I think making sure that you really assess, is this working? If it's not, then adjust it. If you're your own boss, you can determine how many hours you work and when you work. So just know that, give yourself permission to be flexible, I guess would be the short way to say that.
Did you struggle ever? Did your kids come and ask you or have conversations with you like, Mommy, you're always working. Mommy, can you spend more time with us? Did you have to deal with a lot of that?
Surprisingly, I didn't. I did. I was always very upfront with my children. Mommy's working right now. Do you need something right now, or can it wait in another 30 minutes? So they learned pretty easily on that if they really needed mommy, they could come and see me. If it was something they could wait, they would say, "Hey, mom, I want you to show you something here in a few minutes or something." I always talk to my children like they were small adults, if that makes sense. So I would always be explaining, mommy needs to work right now. Can we look at this later? Or sometimes our clients would have emergencies. We're working on e-commerce websites most of the time and people running businesses. If there was like something down and I needed to fix it right then, I would explain to them, hey, mommy's working on a customer emergency right now. If this isn't urgent, I'll get back with you in half an hour or 30, 45 minutes or something. Thankfully, I think I created a good enough balance that they didn't come to me and say that a lot. And I think because I helped them along the process to see what I was doing, I think that helped.
That's really great. Like, I love that. I need to try that. I need to say, do I need to see this now? Can I see it in 30 minutes? Because usually I just ask them to leave my room and say I'm working, and then it ends up being like some kind of, if you don't let me work from home, I'm gonna have to go back to an office. And it goes, my kids are small, they're only 5 and 7. And of course, when I'm home, because I used to have a corporate job. And they never used to see me in the day, but now I'm working from home doing my own business. So they see me a lot and they love it. And in the beginning, it was like, Mommy, why, if you're home, why can't you play with us? So I'm struggling to manage boundaries when they're home, although they're understanding more and more that when I'm working and if they don't let me work, that means I can't do bedtime properly with them, or I don't have time for a story or something. They feel like, okay, let mommy work and get story, but it's not easy. So that's a really good hack, actually. I think I'm going to try that. Do I need to do this now or can it wait for 30 minutes? So that's
Yeah.
never thought of that. So what is your ultimate goal as a working professional or a working mom? Now your kids are older and obviously you're in the peak of your business. Do you have a destination in mind, or it's just like a big business journey that you're just enjoying?
I think I would probably call it a big business journey that I'm enjoying, because in being in business in 23 years now almost, it's just so unpredictable. So you just have to embrace the journey. You might have a long-term goal in general, but you shouldn't be like married to that goal, because things change and evolve so much. You just need to be ready to be flexible, to be able to adapt. The world's changed, the market's changed. The market's so much more different now than it was 20 some years ago. For the first 15 years of our business, we did not have to do any sort of client acquisition. They just fell on our lap. Like we literally were having a wait list of 3 to 4 months for work from us. Now I'm actually having to market ourselves. I have my own podcast now, and the world's just different. It's a lot more, I wouldn't say saturated, but there's a lot more noise would be maybe be the best way to put it. So just being willing to adapt. And so that's why I look at it as more of a journey, not really a destination.
And how do you feel about the emerging tech and AI now, and how it's changing everything we do? You're working in the tech space. People are integrating more and more AI into their websites. So how do you feel about these new tools and how are you using them in your business?
So I feel like most business owners should embrace any of the new technology coming out. Obviously, I think I say embrace it, but also skeptically embrace it. And I'd want to say that hopefully that comes out in the right way of what I mean, because we need to not shun new technology. We need to start to learn to understand it first to see whether it's going to be helpful for a business. Because I feel like AI can be such a great help if you know how to use it. So you can't just jump in and just be naive about it, which is what I mean by skeptically embrace it. You got to process it and see how does it apply to me and my business, rather than just jumping in and just using it blindly without quite understanding it. And I use AI, gosh, daily, multiple times a day, to help me do the things that I'm not great at. I'm good at creativity when I get in that creative mode, but to get in that creative mode is harder for me because I'm a technical brain. So I use AI to help me get into that creative mode, or it helps create the foundation of creativity for me that I can then speak to or write to. So I feel like when new technology comes out, you don't want to be left behind. So you should take some time to learn it, but you also don't want to jump off the cliff. And especially if that's not where you want to go, and you don't want to dive too deep into it if your business isn't exactly on that same path. But you do want to understand enough to see, is this useful to me? Is this going to help me? Will this create an edge for my business? But yeah, I do find that some people sometimes see the new shiny objects and get distracted and go down that rabbit hole and aren't effective. So we just got to make sure you moderate yourself with the new technology, I guess, is my short answer to this story.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think very few people, so there's a difference between using AI and being AI literate, like actually understanding, like you said, understanding what these tools can do and how they can help your business. Everyone just wants to jump in and just try everything. And there's a lot of shiny object syndrome as well. So I think, yeah, I mean, you've nailed it on the head. Like it's important to embrace it, but also think about what you're doing with it rather than just jump on the bandwagon to be part of the
Right.
hype, because we're just in a hype at the moment. So where do you get your inspiration?
Gosh, where do I get my inspiration? It's a hard one. So I had an atypical childhood. I'd had a two parents that were broken. They were heavily into alcohol, and I wouldn't say heavily into drugs per se. They were into drugs, but like the lighter side of drugs, if that's a thing. And so like my grandmother took me in fourth grade because of the situations with my parents. And so I think my inspiration comes from seeing both sides of the world, seeing the side of the world that's not ideal, maybe would be a way to say it, seeing the rougher side of the world. But then my grandmother's side of the world was a bit more the shinier side of the world. Having enough money for food and having plenty of money was her side of the world. Not having enough money was my parents' side of the world, whether I was living with one or both of them at the time. And so I think seeing that potential in what people could be and that it didn't have to come from where you start has always been like my motivation to create better for others, to help others be better in whether it's in their business, whether it's my employees who are with me, whether it's my children, showing them that you can create what you desire where you want to go. You don't have to be constrained to how you started and how you grew up. And so I think that's where my inspiration comes from, seeing both sides of the world and having the wisdom at such a young age to decide the better side of the world. And not saying like being poor and things like that's not good, but my parents made bad choices, let's just say that. So choosing to make better choices. So choosing that better choice side of the world is,
Wow, and
so
your
I think that's my
grandmom,
inspiration.
yeah, and your grandmoms instilled that in you, obviously.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. What is your best productivity hack? Like, how do you do all these things? There's one productivity hack that you can share with us.
I would say paper calendar, which seems odd being a tech person. I do have everything on my Google Calendar for appointment reminders, but there is something different about writing it down. So when you write down your plans, that changes the connection in your brain. So even though you may have things laid out digitally, really writing down what's absolutely important to you. Every morning I write down, or the night before, the top 3 things I want to get done the next day. And having that written is just such a game changer. And it sits beside me on the left on my desk when I'm working too. And so I can always look at it. It's not cluttered by whatever's on my computer. So writing down what's truly important for the day or for the next day if you're planning a day ahead.
Yeah, the value of the notebook and the pen is just underrated now, isn't it? With all these apps around and everything. So it's nice to hear that I still write as well. I still write my to-do list on my in my. Yeah, I didn't think enough about the brain writing connection. There is a connection between writing and your brain, right? And that's why journaling is very good for you, etc. Something I'm gonna have to look up. What is your parenting mantra?
Mine has always been, and I alluded to it a little bit earlier, is I've always treated my children as little adults. And I would give them the information at whatever age they were based upon what I thought that they could understand. So the world's complex. So I tried to teach them about the world as it came up in our lives at the level that they could understand logically and with the brain maturity. But I didn't want to leave them out of the conversation completely. So I would be so like explaining to the kids, I'm busy right now doing this, doing something for a client. Can we check in 30 minutes? I would even do that like when they were 3 or 4 years old. So they were starting to learn, okay, this is work time for mommy. And then we have playtime with mommy. And so I tried to involve them every step of the way of what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why are we going to the grandparents' house this weekend or something? Or where are we going out to the grocery store right now? Like all the little things. I just tried to explain what we were doing and why as a mini version of an adult so that they can become independent when they got older and be able to make those decisions more easily.
Yeah, it's not easy to do though. I think it's very easy for us to lose patience and just be like, that's amazing that you've been able to do that with all your 3 kids growing up. What do you do in your me time and how does it help you?
So in my me time, I play piano a lot. If it's the summertime, you'll find me outside in our pool. I love the sun. I love being outside. I regularly go on just about every Friday. I go on a date with my husband and many times another couple that's our best friends. We will go out to eat. Sometimes we bring the youngest along too. And so he's involved in the adult conversations, even though he's 17, almost 18. So we try to spend a lot of time with family and friends is what I usually try to do for my me time. Sometimes I would just simply sit on my back porch and read, or sometimes I even work on my back porch, but it just brings me so much joy to sit outside and work. So I try to align my goals with like just my natural being of loving to be outside or loving music.
And where in the US are you based?
Sorry, what was that?
Where in the US are you based?
I'm in Athens, Ohio. It's the southeastern beautiful side of Ohio, I like to call it. It's very beautiful here.
Is that where you grew up?
I grew up about an hour away. I actually moved a lot as a child with the divorce that happened when I was 3, but it was all close within an hour of each other. So I grew up about an hour from here.
So what would be your advice to new moms looking to start working again or starting their own business?
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Okay. So for new moms, I feel like what you need to do, here's something that sometimes helps me when I'm overwhelmed with the things to do and I'm not sure how to get all the things done, is I will start logging for a few days, maybe a whole week, everything I do. The time I start something, the time I stop something, like cooking breakfast, feeding the kids, taking them to school if they're of school age. So I would write down a time log of exactly what I did in my day. And then I could go back and look at it and analyze, were there things in here that wasn't really necessary that I could maybe fit work into instead? Did I really enjoy scrolling Facebook for 30 minutes? For example, could I have done something instead work wise? Or how could I batch things together that were similar tasks so I could be more efficient? And so I'm not task switching so much, which is one of the reasons why I would ask the kids to wait 30 minutes or whatever it might be so that I wasn't task switching. So I generally like to log exactly what I'm doing. And it sounds really tedious, and it is tedious, but you will be amazed how eye-opening it is to see exactly where does your day actually go? Where are you wasting it? Where are the opportunities to do the things you want to do? So when they were really little, I would work when they were napping, and I would work when they were sleeping at night. It'd be many times what I do. So I would just try to find those nooks and crannies and be realistic and be gracious to yourself. If things don't quite work the first few times you try it, just figure it out and be ready to adjust.
Justin, yeah, I think time management is key, and maybe logging everything you do is quite a useful activity, because it's often we say we don't have time, but then we don't really pay attention to where we're spending our time and don't realize where we can probably optimize our time. But it
Right.
is tedious and it is discipline to put into it. So just some quick fire questions just to end. What's your favorite tool that makes your life easier?
Currently, my first thing that came to my mind was ChatGPT. It makes my life so much easier. It outlines my podcast, it answers my brainstorming questions. It's been great.
What is a parenting book or parenting advice that you got that was a game changer for you?
I would say this kind of goes back to marriage, because I feel like having a good marriage helps you be a better parent. And it was never go to bed angry with your husband. Work it out before you go to sleep. So that's my parenting advice. It makes you a much better parent.
What's the best thing you've read or watched lately?
The best thing I've read or watched lately, from a parenting standpoint or just in general?
Anything.
The best thing I've watched lately is the Queen's Gambit series. It's a short series. I absolutely love that one. I was so fascinated. I wish the story kept going. I absolutely love that one. So that's probably one of the things that stands out recently. Otherwise, there's a bunch of business books. I can't even remember the names of them, but there's quite a few good ones out there.
And your favorite quote?
If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
That was it. Henry Ford who said that.
I think so. I think so. But it's so true. If you think you can do it, you can.
Yeah.
You'll find the ways.
It's true. It's such a mindset thing. Like everything in life is mindset. if you have the right mindset, you can literally do anything. And it's
You really
hard
can.
for that. But that's a fantastic quote. Thank you very much. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I just really appreciate being on here. I'm happy to have the opportunity. It's great to talk to you again. We always learn so much from each other, I feel like.
No, absolutely. And thank you for your time and thank you for coming on. And yeah, I will be, let me just close it. So thank you for your time, Carrie. It was a wonderful interview and I hope to be in touch, and I will be sharing all your details with my audience along with a whole bunch of links of where they can find you. So thank you very much. And I will see you in one of our communities very soon.
Thank you again.